use a class, we have to create an instance of it. This isn't a complete class, but it does give the init section. So we can see it's class dice. We have our init, which takes self and sides, and then we set our class variables, self dot underscore underscore sides equals sides, which is passed into it. The double underscore makes these private, and that means that other programs can't directly access them. And so we have self dot underscore underscore side up. We're just initializing it to 1. We don't need to pass anything in for that. So how would we use this in an actual program? If we have a main method in our actual program, we would either write this at the bottom of the same program, or we could have a full file named dice.py, and we could have this saved in there. So we could have more than one possible place to see dice in that. So we could have it in the same file. If it's an external file, we could reference it by dice.dice, and we could have it more than once either way. So we're going to look at the def main. So this is our main method. This assumes that we are writing it in the same file, the same Python file. And so we create a die8 equals dice, and we pass in 8 sides. That creates 8 here. That means this will become 8, and that's set to 1. If we use the roll method, we'll get a random number for roll, and then we could get the value, and we can use it. So we can use all of those methods that we created that are public. So when we're working with public methods, we typically will create mutator and accessor methods for everything in our class. So let's see what that would look like for the dice class if we finish it off. So again, this is assuming that we are going to put it in a separate file and then import it. So the import statement would be import dice with the lowercase, and then we would go to the specific class with that dot sequence that gives us our file structure. And so to finish this class, pretty much every class you write for this course that you're taking in programming is going to need getter and setter methods, usually for every variable. Not always, but usually for every variable. For example, in this particular setting, we always want the initial side up to be 1, and then we'll change it with the random, so we don't need to pass that in. So this is our class. We are initializing or setting the value here in the initialization. So we're doing it from what's passed in, 8. But we can also create a specific method that we can call that's a public method. So we could do def set. This is our mutator, and mutators are setters and getters. So set sides. And this is public because it doesn't have the double underscores, and we would pass sides into it. It will accept a value from the calling program. So it's like calling a function and passing it a parameter. And in here, we would have self.sides equal sides. So we can set the value here, which would change what's up here, would change our internal value. So we can write functions that will change each of our variables here. So we would also have a def set side up potentially. We also, for each setter that we do, we need to get a getter or encode a getter. So we'd have a def get sides. And then we don't pass it anything, but we would return the class variable self.sides. And typically when you first create a class, you will create set statements and get statements in this pattern for everything that's for every variable that's in the class. So we'd be creating instances of those classes in another program, If it's a program is at the bottom of the page, we just use dice. If it's in a file where we've imported, if we do an import statement, and dice is the file name, then to access any of these things, it would be, to create an instance, it would be my dice equals dice with the lowercase, that's the file name, dot dice with the capital letter, the class name. And that gives you the structure so that you can import and have a module full of different classes for objects. So this gives you just sort of an overview on how we will work with classes to create instances to create objects.